What's up, YouTube? For today's video, we're a full Wo-Chien team. Now, since Wo-Chien got its shiny event here, I thought it'd be pretty funny if I got a team of 6 of them. Tablet to Ruin is his ability. Basically, what that does is it drops the attack of the opposing Pokemon by 0.75. Now, if you do want to get multiples of these Pokemon, all you have to do is have another game and multiple profiles on your Switch. I've got 4 battles today with this team. They were rather long battles, but they were good ones. So let's get into it. First battle here we got is a random. I'm not sure what their trainer name is though, but they had an absolutely stacked team, which was very, very strong against 6 Wo-Chien. So, is this anyone's favorite Pokemon of all time? Do you really like that? I don't know, let me know your thoughts on this Pokemon. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Like, tell me what you think about it in the comment section of the video. I don't mind it, it's an interesting Pokemon. We haven't had a snail. I like the idea of a snail and leaves. It is kind of interesting for sure. Alright, so we got a Koraidon lead, and oh my god, it's using Flare Blitz. I've totally never ever seen that one before. So, Timmy Terra Fire turn 1. So basically my opponent just wants to press the A button with their face and win, you know. They want to put the smallest amount of effort in possible. So we're going to see if we can make them work for it, right? We're going to make little Timmy work for it. So this, well, the first Wo-Chien set got completely wiped out. You got to see what that is. This next set is more of a tanky set. But I was wondering here, like, even if I go Terra Electric, will I even live the attack? Because Koraidon is so powerful with Terra Fire and the Sun going. So I decided not to do that. Koraidon was taking big amounts of damage too from the Flare Blitz, which is what I was going for. But I had to sacrifice a lot on my team. So I sacked 2 of them off there. There wasn't much I could do considering what I was facing. And I had an idea. I was like, look, if I go Terra Fire, this is a sweeping set. So it's not as bulky as the other 2. If I'm thinking this should be around the amount of damage, I could get maybe a try for a reverse sweep here. So this is my growth Wo-Chien in the sun, and it also is holding a Scarlet berry. So Scarlet berry there is to increase its, rather average speed. Now I did do a sweep with this, a video I think I did about a week ago. I will pin that in the comments too if you haven't checked it out. So Koraidon's going to be going for a Flare Blitz here. It does monstrous damage to me, and it puts me right smack bang in the range of my Scarlet berry activating. So it's like, this is great. So on this turn here, what I did, instead of attacking, I went for growth. So that gave me a +2 in attack and special attack. Now I've got a chance to outspeed Koraidon and maybe get back into this battle. So I absolutely have to get rid of this now. I outspeed and take out the Koraidon. So that was perfect, right? Sadly, I had to sacrifice 2 Pokemon for that, but I saw like no other alternative, right? So this set here is max speed, tip of nature, and max special attack, Terra Fire. So in comes Kyogre. Now they went for an Ice Beam, failed to take me out. Straight away, that told me that they've got a Choice Scarf Ice Beam set. So little Timmy thought they could just press Ice Beam and then feint my Fire one and then just press Ice Beam on the remaining 3 with Choice Scarf and finish the battle. But they underestimated the bulk of Wo-Chien, and now they are really, truly going to be paying the price. So out goes Kyogre there, almost got one shot at, and in comes Archiludon. Now, Archiludon will take a lot of damage. Normally it would take a lot of damage from Terra Fire, but it was raining. So I went for the Dank Pulse, and I got a fat flinch and a Disrespect Giga Drain to finish off. So we've really caught back into this battle now. Really got back into the battle. So the opponent was very, very overconfident at the start there, and it is costing them dearly right now. The next Pokemon we got here is going to be Landorus. So Landorus got that Intimidate, not that it matters. Remember, I've got the Scarlet berry up, and that is just going to juice it with 1 Giga Drain. Did the crit matter? Gee, I don't know about that, but even if it didn't, what was Landorus going to do? Earthquake? With my ability, I was confident I could live that, even not very well. Next Pokemon is going to be Urshifu here. Well, Urshifu has got It was going to get hit very hard with this, and since the opponent decided to go Timmy Terra on their Koraidon turn 1, they can't do any defensive terrors at all. So I'm just completely wiping their team out at the moment with this Wo-Chien. Next Pokemon is Kyogre from before. We know it's the Choice Scar set. Now it's like, yep, you're going to go for Origin Pulse here. Or I'm sure you've got Origin Pulse, and they did go for it, and Wo-Chien is going to faint. But that was an excellent run there with the Wo-Chien. Like, I got rid of so many powerful Pokemon. Now, I've got 3 more Pokemon left. I know they're obviously Choice Scarf too. So I'm swapping on my next Wo-Chien. I'm expecting them to swap out and then swap it back in, because they don't have too many options here. The ground is starting to fall beneath them, you know. So I've got Stun Spore, Dank Pulse, Mud Slap, and Hex, and they're going to swap out. So we know they're going to go for Ice Beam, right? All I have to do is be able to, you know, live one Ice Beam. That's what I was thinking. So in comes Ursaluna Blood Moon, and Stun Spore misses. I'm like, oh, come on. So I was like, all right, I'll just go for it again. It's not the end of the world. I should be able to outspeed. So we got that Stun Spore on the Ursaluna Blood Moon. Let me bring this set up here. It's difficult because you can't nickname these. So they're all the same nicknames. I'm trying to remember which one was what. So this was Max Speed and Max Special Attack, Modest Nature. Stun Spore, Dank Pulse, Mud Slap, and Hex. The Terra type was Ghost too, to boost up the Hex damage. So this was immune to Mud Slap's secondary effects due to Mind's Eye ability, and they've also got Vacuum Wave too, which really isn't too much of a surprise here. But I've softened them up a lot. I've taken half their health away. I've paralyzed them. I've still got 2 other Wo-Chiens in the back, so I was feeling pretty good about it, right? I was feeling confident I could win this battle. So we got 2 more left. The only thing this can do is just go for Vacuum Wave again. So going into my next Wo-Chien here, the shiny, like, what do you reckon to the shiny? I think it looks really, really good. I like that autumn sort of look. So this is a Sunny Day Solar Beam set with Terra Blast and Snail with a Throat Spray. So I thought, well, I'll go for Sunny Day. So they're going to go for a Vacuum Wave there, and I'm going to set the sun up. I guess they figured that I would faint them. I might have gone for a Blood Moon there, because Wo-Chien doesn't have exactly the highest offensive stats, but I guess a special Grass move probably would have, you know, ended them from there. Even Giga Drain, right? So now I can go for a Solar Beam here. I have taken a little bit of damage from Vacuum Wave, but Kyogre, I'm 100% sure, is just like a Choice Scarf Water Spout set with Origin Pulse and Ice Beam and Thunder, and, you know, the typical set that anyone can use, right? So that's going to be the end of the Ursaluna. Next Pokemon is the Kyogre, which has like a little bit of health left, and that's it. And I still have another Wo-Chien in the back there. So I thought, well, what would be the most disrespectful way to take this out if I was able to live? And I was. I just narrowly lived there, and I just went for a Disrespect Parablast, and I took it out. And that is the end of the first battle. That was a good battle there. That was great, because everything sort of fell in place. After I had that, sorry, I almost coughed there. I got my growth and I got my Sailor Berry. Everything just happened perfectly, right? There was an excellent battle. So maybe they won't underestimate Wo-Chien again, right? Next battle here, we got another random one. Not sure of the trainer's name. If anyone wants to translate, that would be absolutely wonderful. So first Pokemon we got is going to be the Dragapult. And of course, Dragapult gets a crit on me turn 1. This was the longest battle I had with this team. Once again, this team was absolutely stacked, right? So Wo-Chien is, I would not call, Wo-Chien is not a sweeping Pokemon by any stretch of the imagination. So it was a very, very difficult team to actually use. It's more of a stalling Pokemon, but it does have a lot of weaknesses too. So the Choice Band set actually worked very, very well there. I took out Skeledirge, which is a great counter to this team. That was a Max Health and Max Attack set with Adamant. We had Power Whip, Payback, Zen Headbat, and Facade with Terra Grass and a Choice Band. So that's why I was able to dispose of that Skeledirge so well. So Dragapult's going to finish me off there with a Dragon Dart, which is fine. I know that I can get rid of this. So I thought, this Pokemon's very fast, right? It'd be great if I could get a Stun Spore on it. Now they're going to go for a Timmy Terra, and it's going to be Terra Fair. Like, of course, this is probably going to have, like, it's either defensive or they've got Terra Blast. So they're going to go for a Dragon Dance here, increasing its speed and attack now. As you know, Dragapult is already a very, very fast Pokemon, so I thought, well, Stun Spore's probably not going to be as effective as I would have liked it, but it might still work if I do get a Paralyze. So I've got Mud Slap and I got Hex. I thought, well, Hex is going to be good, and so I was Mud Slap. So Dragon Darts, they obviously didn't have Terra Blast. It was a defensive Terra. I went for Mud Slap, and they've got Clear Body. So that sort of sums up what ability I had. It didn't have Infiltrator and stuff like that. So they actually got Paralyzed on the second turn, which is good. So my Stun Spore from earlier was not a waste, and Hex does really good damage there, almost taken out. And then my Bright Power to the item actually made me miss Dragon Darts, and the second Hex takes them out. That's pure salt. So I was expecting maybe a DG there, but since they had such a wildly overpowered team compared to mine, I was like, surely they're not going to disconnect now. They're going to continue, right? And they didn't. Next Pokemon's going to be Ogerpon. Now, this was a bit problematic for sure. Obviously, having that grass typing was annoying, and this also had U-turn as well. U-turn was a very, very big counter to this team because they were all dark and grass. And what that meant was that forced me to Terra one Pokemon on the spot if I seen that again. I'd have to be forced to do that, and I would be not as well prepared for the other Pokemon on their team. Like, we go Terrapaga, so they had some very, very powerful Pokemon. So swapping into the next Wo-Chien here, I have to... this is a troll set, this one. It's a Ruination Spite set. It is pretty tanky. Let me give you the EV spread on it. Now, if you want to know how to use Wo-Chien, some more competitive sets as well, I mean, that sweeping one's quite a good set. I have done a Wo-Chien guide as well on my channel if you want to check that out. So this is a Ruination Spite Leaf Storm Foul Play set. That was a bit of a mouthful. A Jetpack as the item too, so I could go for Leaf Storm and then eject myself out of there. Foul Play was just for any setup moves. Say, the opponent set up Dragon Dance or Sword Dance. Spite was just to get rid of like really low PP powerful moves, and Ruination just for some fixed damage. Max Health and Max Special Attack, Quiet Nature. So I actually managed to get rid of Terrapagas, which is really cool. And I've got a Jetpack too, so that's going to eject me out of there. I thought there's a high chance that Ogerpon's just going to come back in and press U-turn, right? They don't have to work for that at all. It's a very, very easy counter for them. So they're going to bring her back in, and obviously they're going to go for U-turn again, which surprised no one. So I thought the most expendable Pokemon now is that Wo-Chien I just used, because I've used its item up. It's got half, below half health. Let's just get rid of it, right? My ability is saving me a little bit there from getting one-shotted, but it's still doing like monstrous damage. So instead of attacking, well, I mean, it was pretty easy for them. They didn't have to, they had a crazy move there like U-turn, which is good. So they had the capacity to be able to set something up like spikes in that situation. So they're going to set up a spikes, and now they're going to go for U-turn. So that's the end of Wo-Chien, which didn't really surprise me. So I've got 3 left. And there was some really, really powerful Pokemon left on their team too. The next Pokemon is going to be Koraidon. So I was like, oh, okay, here we go. I guess the only good thing was I was grass type. So if it was to go for Electro Drift, not that Electro Drift was going to be a weak move. It still was going to be really, really powerful. At least I would resist it. So this set was my bulky set. I was like a Leech Seed Poison Powder set, because Wo-Chien doesn't learn Toxic, it learns Poison Powder. I don't know why, like, so many Pokemon lost Toxic. So Koraidon's going to have Protect, which is interesting. Now, the only thing they got out of that was just seeing what I was going to use. So I've got Leech Seed, I've got Mean Look as well. I was a little bit worried about Volt Switch when I used Mean Look, and then, of course, the moment I was worried about it, they used it, so I'm like, oh, bugger. So I can't use my Mean Look Poison Powder Leech Seed strategy as much. And this set also counters me as well because it's got U-turn and due to its grass typing, right? So, powder moves. So I was in a rock and a hard place, pardon the pun, if you could understand that at the moment. So I'm thinking, gee, what am I going to do? I've got Giga Drain, or I go Terra Electric to live this, or do I save this? Do I sack another one off for this? Like, my options were extraordinarily limited at the moment, and the opponent had all the advantages. So I was thinking, man, like, what do I do? I've got to go for Terra, right? I have to go for Terra. So I went for the Terra. This is Terra Electric, so I thought that wouldn't be a bad Terra on it because it's only got one weakness, and the weakness is ground. And, if a ground-type Pokemon were to swap in, I could use Giga Drain on it, and that would give me good sustain, and it'll be super effective. So that was my thought process there. So, of course, Miraidon's going to come back in. Now, this either has Drake or Meteor, and, of course, I got a Poison Powder miss on the swap, too. That was actually very, very big and momentous that I missed that, because that initial damage was much needed. So I missed that, which really sucks. I have Giga Drain. I was like, let's go for Giga Drain. Let's see what they're going to do. And they went for Outrage, which was a physical set as well, like a mix set. So I'd say they've got like Outrage, Volt Switch, Electro Drift, and I felt like that maybe if they had Drake or Meteor and Dragon Pulse, they would have used it. So I say it's got Protect. That's the other move. So yeah, so they've got a mix set, which isn't all that bad, too. The only weakness to that is they are locked into Outrage. And I was like, wait, that gives me an idea. If they're locked into Outrage, I can go for Leech Seed, and then I won't easily be able to swap then. And then I could go for Poison Powder, and then I can go from there, right? So another Outrage here, Wo-Chien. Let me tell you the EVs on this one, too. This is a bit more complicated. So we have 252 in health, 96 in defense, and 120 in special defense with Calm Nature. So it's a very, very all-round bulky set. And it has a lot more special defense, but I've got Tablets of Ruin, which helps a lot, in the attacking Pokemon. Drops the attack a lot there, which is useful. So I've got that Leech Seed going nicely now, which is going to be some good recovery. I also got Leftovers. So I've got Leftovers and Leech Seed, which is really, really good. Miraidon actually hits itself in Confusion, which was very, very handy. And that allowed me to get a free Poison Powder, which, clearly I should have got that one up earlier on. So that definitely made up for that, which was excellent. So pretty much all they can do here is use Volt Switch. And go back in the Ogerpon. But, at least against the Ogerpon, I could go for Giga Drain. That would be beneficial. In that sense. And I can't really do much else outside of that, too. And I know they've also terrored, they can't Terra anymore because they already terrored their Dragapult at the start. So we're starting to make some pretty good headway on Miraidon here. There was one other very powerful Pokemon in the back, too, a physical attacker. I had to worry about that, too. So Miraidon got a couple of turns there of hitting itself in Confusion, which is good. At this point, Miraidon wasn't really the Pokemon I was most scared of. It was the Ogerpon with spammable U-turn once my electric Wo-Chien had gone or fainted, if that was a possibility. Or crits from its signature move. That could also be another thing too. And I couldn't freely put Leech Seed up against it either, or Poison Powder. They're not going to work. I just have to go for Giga Drain, which is probably not going to do too much there. And the other Pokemon in the back too, which we'll get to see. So Miraidon's health is quickly diminishing here, and now they're going to go for a Vulture because now they know they can't win that matchup. They're holding on to their Miraidon like a newborn baby, right? So they don't want to lose that. They can't possibly want to lose their little legendary, right? So we've got the Dragonite coming in here. As I said, this is a problem because this can freely set up Dragon Dances on me if it has it, which, judging on the sets that they've already used, I'm sure that it does. Now, Dragonite at least can't be Terra Normal Extreme Speed, but I know that it can get Earthquake, Extreme Speed, powerful Dragon type moves, and it can set up on me because this is a very passive set, Ruination could be good on this set too over Giga Drain. I just like I like the idea of Giga Drain, Leech Seed, Leftovers. It gives you a lot of sustain, even when Giga Drain doesn't do a lot. So I've got the Leech Seed up on Dragonite, which is good. I feel like they're committed now, so they're going to set Dragon Dances up here. They're not going to swap. And I was like, well, I'll go for the Poison Powder. So Dragonite's going to go for a second Dragon Dance. And now, even though I've got Tablets of Ruin right, now it is going to do, whatever move it's going to use here, I was like, it's going to do a lot of damage. I was hoping they didn't have Earthquake. That's what I was, quite worried about here. So I've got Poison Powder and Leech Seed going my way at the moment, which is good. But it's going to take quite a few more turns to feint this. So I thought, I have to sacrifice one of my, I have to hold on to this electric snail, right, because it's my only answer to the remaining Pokemon. So I swapped into my other Wo-Chien here. I'm going to take a bit of Spikes damage, and Dragonite is going to use Outrage and Roost combination here. So Roost, I was like, oh, bugger. I don't know whether I can get rid of this now. Like, this is an easy counter to my team because, you know, Poison Powder isn't a bad poison. It's just a normal poison, so it's not going to stack in damage like Toxic does, which really, they could stall with Roost a bit with a bad Toxic, but eventually it would have an effect on them. So I just managed to live that move, only just, and I had my Salic Berry boosted, which didn't matter at all. I just went for Dart Pulse, and Dart Pulse does a pretty good amount of damage there. Now, Dragonite is in a position where it's either got to go for Roost again, or it's going to have to take repeated Dart Pulses. And I'm also getting health back from Leech Seed too. So now their health's getting really low. I'm like, they're just going to keep attacking, right? Because they went with Outrage, so I'm going to make advantage of that. So what I thought to bring in here, I was like, I need to bring in my next Wo-Chien. I need to be able to live this, and I need to be able to get some Leech Seed damage on them. We also had 3 minutes left on the battle too, and 3 Pokemon each remaining. So Dragonite's going to go for their Outrage, and unfortunately Wo-Chien, the next one, did not live that. I think it would have been very, very close. I think that spikes down on the field actually, got them, netted them that kill. So Dragonite is on the its last legs here, going back into the Electric Wo-Chien. Now, I've taken a bit of Spikes damage. This is a lot more tankier than the other ones in terms of defensive investment, but I thought this is still going to really hurt, and I just lived it. So I'm like, all right, that's good. Dragonite is now going to get confused. At this stage, I was like, I'm just going to go for Giga Drain, and the Toxic and Leech Seed would take it out. But I managed to get around the Dragonite, which was pretty impressive, right? And also had that, I had the Koraidon on the ropes too. So I was looking at my health, I'm like, man, I can live Koraidon's Outrage. I'm good, I can definitely live that. What's U-Turn going to do from Ogerpon? What are you going to do with U-Turn? That's not going to faint either, right? I'm in a great position here. And I've still got one more Wo-Chien in the back. So now they've got the Ogerpon coming in. I was like, the only thing that could go wrong here, if they go for their signature move, and I can go for Giga Drain still, that will be good. So we'll see. But the signature move critted me, so I'm like... So there's not much I feel like there was a good chance I could have badly lived that. I would have just loved to have seen the damage that Giga Drain would have done plus leftovers. Would I have been able to win that matchup? And then they would have been left with Koraidon. That would have been very, very interesting to see that. Of course, they can just press A there and win at the end with little to no effort. But very, very good battle there. And the amount of counters they had there, scraping a win at the end there, very impressive. The Wo-Chien team was very impressive there. I would have liked to see the damage calcs for that. Just to note, my Wo-Chien didn't have any special attack EVs. It was just, it just had no special attack. So I probably wouldn't have done a lot. I reckon I might have done maybe a quarter health. So that's something to look at. Anyway, next battle here. This is another random battle. This was another very, very good countering team to mine too. It wasn't really hard to counter a Wo-Chien, to be honest. So they led with probably the most useless Pokemon on their team because it was a water type, right? I wasn't really worried about it that much because I know what, at worst they'd have a fairy type move and I'd probably be able to live that. So Primarina's going to have Draining Kiss, getting most of its health back. And I had this Wo-Chien here, which was pretty tanky. It's the set you guys got to see before. It's the Leech Seed Mean Look one with Terra Electric. Now, I had Giga Drain, but they swapped out there. Obviously, they couldn't bear losing a Pokemon. So now they're going to go into Gliscor. Now, as you guys know what Gliscor's all about, and obviously they didn't predict Poison Power at all. It's just a lucky swap in, and that's going to poison them there. So this was interesting. So I thought, I wonder if I can defeat Gliscor, because obviously it's going to have Toxic. Will this set have the capacity to beat a Gliscor? Like, I was interested because I'm like, if I can't get past Gliscor, I'm not going to be able to, even get around it, I'm going to have to go for a Terra, which I don't really want to, and they've got some really, really big counters there. So I was thinking I've got to hold on to my Terra for the remaining Pokemon. So I thought, I'll put down the Leech Seed, and I've got that. So that's really all I've got. I do have the damage of Giga Drain as well, but, with Poison Heal, it was virtually getting rid of that. So then I had another idea. I'm like, okay, I might be able to do this and I guess they feel like they've got some time to set up stealth rocks too, but as I mentioned on this set, I had mean look too. So by me using mean look here, this trapped into Gliscor. So it couldn't swap out, it couldn't run away and just be annoying the entire battle and swap into every single resisted move. So I thought, I have to get rid of this now. Or at least I've got to put it on a lower mana health and then swap something in again to feint it. That's what I was thinking anyway, because it was a very good counter to my team. So they're back to full health again, and I mean, I had Leech Seed and I had Leftovers, and that was actually a pretty big thing because it wasn't really doing a lot of damage. Now the Gliscor's going to go for Toxic, so I was like, do they have nothing to hit me with? I thought they might have Knockoff or maybe even Earthquake, but they had Toxic and they had Stealth Rock, so it seems to be quite a passive Gliscor set. Typically they've got like one move here, but you know, both of those moves, like Knockoff would have been bad because that would have got rid of Leftovers, but Earthquake I'm not worried about at all if it had that. So they got Protect as well. So now they started, you know, they're starting to realize that, oh, Wo-Chien might actually be able to feint me. I'm going to have to start, you know, using Protect here. But I wasn't really sure if I could win this matchup. I also didn't want to stall here either, but, you know, since Gliscor is a stalling Pokemon, the only way to beat this was with this singular set. Unless I brought in, I was like, I could bring in my Growth, you know, the Growth set I had, but then if I went Terra Fire, it would be weak to that. And then they just swap it out, you know, they just hold on to it once that set was gone. So I thought, you know, this is my only chance here. So Giga Drain is actually doing pretty impressive damage, and it's also healing me a lot too. So I'm like, this is actually going a lot better than what I thought. Because, you know, I am badly poisoned at the moment. But I've got a couple of things going for me. I've got Leech Seed and Giga Drain, and Leftover. So I've got three ways of healing. So even though Toxic is starting to do a lot of damage to me, I'm healing a lot, right? Because normally if you poison a Pokemon, they'll be dead in 6 turns from a bad Toxic, right? Judging there's no other things in place, right? So I feel like with my, you know, Giga Drain and Leftovers and Leech Seed, I feel that could almost, you know, get close to almost doubling the time, or another 3 to 4 turns on top of that. Eventually, I would just get one-shotted by Toxic, you know, it just keeps doubling in damage. So I wanted to put it on a small amount of health, or, you know, something manageable, before I got, you know, the next Wo-Chien. Because obviously they'll just use Toxic against the next Wo-Chien and the whole thing will start again, right? So I had to stop that happening. So Gliscor was trying desperately to get double Protects there at the end because they knew that I was almost able to take them out. And we got another Giga Drain in there, and Gliscor is almost down here. I was like, ooh, that might be enough, right? Because the Leech Seed will come into effect before the Poison Heal takes place, right? Instead of the other way around. And the Leech Seed actually took out Gliscor, so we managed to outstall a Toxic Gliscor, which is pretty impressive, you know? It was all that healing actually helped a lot. Next Pokemon is Blaziken, so, you know, this is a huge, enormous counter to my team. Fire and Fighting type. I'm like, what am I going to do against this, you know? So I had Poison Powder, but I figured that, well, they'll probably just be a Protect and Speed Boost, you know, Sword Dance set, you know, the generic stuff here. So Protect is going to give them a speed boost, plus I'm going to take more damage from that Toxic, the Gliscor there. There was absolutely no point in me swapping out at this point in the battle either, because, you know, my goal had sort of been achieved there, taking out Gliscor, so I was happy about that. So Wo-Chien's going to die. You know, Gliscor was pretty close to actually fainting me too. If that went on for like another 2 turns, I might have actually fainted. So we're going to bring our next Wo-Chien. Now, this one, I'm also going to take Stealth Rock damage on top of that as well, on top of facing a Fire and Fighting Pokemon. I've got Mud Slap and Dark Pulse, and they're going to use Flare Blitz. So this is very similar to the first battle, the Koraidon battle, right? And, you know, on top of that, they had more counters after that too. The only thing is Blaziken, you know, there's no Sun Up, but the problem is it's got Speed Boost, so there's no way for me to outspeed this at all. And they've got the option of going for a fighting move as well. Like, so they had all the advantage with them from the, you know, from the team preview. So I thought, all right, I could try for a Terra here, Terra Ghost. I could try that and then go for maybe Foul Play. there wasn't many options here that I could go for. So they're going to go for Flea Blitz. I actually ended up changing my mind. I thought, I'm just going to... I like the first battle. I had to let them just faint most of my team. You know, 2 of my team are gone. And at here, I was like, man, I got to contemplate them sacking another Pokemon. So really, I only had 3 more Pokemon to work with here. And I'd only taken out a Gliscor. So, you know, things weren't looking too good. But, you know, I wanted to see if I could take out Blaziken, you know. That was my goal. So I thought, all right, I go Terra Fire here. Then I go Giga Drain. Will that be enough to take it out with the recall from Flare Blitz? Or not. I had to go for it, right? If I gave up another Wo-Chien, then I'd only have 2 left, you know. So that was the bad thing. So I went for that Terra Fire, and I just had to hope that I would live that, you know, live that attack a little bit better. So I did. I lived it very well, which was, you know, to be expected there. The thing was, I needed Giga Drain to kill, and of course it did not kill, and Blaziken lived on 1 health. I'm like. So nothing was going my way. The opponent had every single advantage they could ever want in their life, right? So Air Balloon is gonna was their item too, and they went for close combat. So that didn't kill, thank goodness, because I wasn't a dark type, and you know, thank goodness because that actually activated my Salic Berry too. So it was different to the first battle, but I still managed to get the Salic Berry up, but I didn't get the growth. I wasn't able to get the growth up, so I had to really rely on Giga Drain at this point too. But I was very, very happy to get rid of a Blaziken. You know, Gliscor and Blaziken on was really good. So I know that Primarina couldn't come in here. They couldn't swap that in at all because that was gone. So you may as well assume they've got 3 Pokemon left because that one was, you know, there was nothing that could do. So in comes Hydreigon. Hydreigon, I mean, what can I do here? Nothing, right? So I could have gone into my other Wo-Chien to live the Dark Pulse, but what if they predicted that and went for Flamethrower or Fire Blast? I couldn't take that chance, right? So I had to let it faint there. So now I'm going to bring in my second last Wo-Chien. Now this one was really, really cool, right? Because this is my Choice Bandit set, yeah? Yeah, so I was like, I'm going to go Pollen Puff here. Pollen Puff, it actually learns it. And this is really funny, right? Because like, this is a great play because I know they've got a Meowscarada and they swapped it in and Pollen Puff Choice Banded takes out Meowscarada. Like, that was awesome. So that was another a bit of an annoying Pokemon there as well because, you know, you know they had Triple Axle and all the sweat on that too. So next Pokemon's going to be Corviknight. Now, Corviknight was a crazy, crazy good counter for my team, especially once my Terra Fire one had gone. So I was like, I don't know. I'll see what moveset they've got here. So I swapped out because obviously I was Choice Banded. I wasn't going to go for a Pollen Puff. And I went into my next Wo-Chien just to see what they're going to do. And they went for Bulk Up. I'm like, oh, great. So this is once again, this is just an easy counter. They don't really have to do much here. So it's probably just a Bulk Up. It could either be a Body Press set, you know, something like that. So I went for Snail, and they've got Mirror Armor as well. So I can't boost my special attack at all. I just wanted to show them that. Like, this was my other set. So I couldn't do anything here at all. So Corviknight is going to go for Bulk Up. You know they've got Roost as well. And they've got Body Press on their set too. They may even have Power Trip too. That, you know, Body Press is going to be infinitely better. The other move I had was Solar Beam too. So I thought, you know what? I'll just stay in this battle for a few turns. I'll show them what my moveset is. And of course they, you know, they're battling like it was their last battle on planet Earth. So they went for a Roost. And I've got, I don't think this gets Weather. Would have been cool if I had Weather Ball there. That would have been a good surprise. But I couldn't do anything. My last Pokemon was Choice Banded, so it couldn't do anything. And, you know, that was pretty much the end of the battle there, you know. They had all the advantages. But I was very, very happy with how this battle went because I took out Gliscor, Blaziken, and Meowscarada. Primarina couldn't do anything. And Hydreigon, I feel I would have taken out with Pollen Puff as well. So it was actually a very close battle. Anyway, let's go on to the next one here. This is the 4th and final battle. And this one is against Super Bowser. And we have a double matchup. So we've got a Wo-Chien team versus a Wo-Chien team. So there's going to be a lot of snail action here. Who likes snails? Tell me what you think of snails, guys. Like, is it anyone's favorite bug, you know? Anyway, has anyone ever eaten a snail? Come on, be honest. So we've got a normal gem body slam set here. So my first Wo-Chien is the Ruination set, and it's got the Spite as well. So to be honest, I really couldn't do much against this. So my snail is getting squashed at the moment, but I had Ruination, and I was pretty intent on just going for that. Now I thought since I got it onto a low amount of health here, I could go for Leaf Storm. You know, that would do enough damage to faint it, which is good, and that would also swap me out too. So that was the end of the first Wo-Chien, which is good. But there's plenty more to come. Oh yeah, I had the eject back there, of course. So the next Wo-Chien I was thinking about sending in, I was like, should I go for my sweeping set? I was a little bit cautious because if I send in my sweeping, you know, the Terra Fire one, I was like, if I do that, I don't know what Terra they're going to have as well. So, like, they may have a counter Terra. So, this one had Pollen Puff. I thought that'd be a great one to go for versus this team, right? Choice Band Pollen Puff. But we both had Pollen Puff, like, of course. So, judging on the damage, I was like, we both Choice Banded, but then I seen Life Orb. So, I was Choice and they were Life Orb, right? And I was able to, I would say I won the speed tie there. I didn't put any speed into mine, so it would have been a complete speed tie there on the second one. So, things were going pretty good. I got a nice little speed tie there. Out comes another Wo-Chien. So I know that surprises you guys a lot, right? So I've got that Pollen Puff, and then there was another Pollen Puff. I was like, oh no! So that is the end of my first Wo-Chien. So we got to get around this Pollen Puff set. It's funny because you know, if the Tablet of Ruin wasn't in effect, those Wo-Chien that got hit by Pollen Puff on both sides would have just got one-shotted. You know, 4 times weak to bug and stuff. So, another Pollen Puff, and that's another Wo-Chien down. So, like, I just lost the speed. So, there was a lot of speed ties going on here. There were a lot of them. So, we're going to go into the next Wo-Chien. And I was like, well, I could go Terra here. But I know that I can live one. And this one's got Terra Fire. So, I thought maybe I could just go Terra Blast and, you know, get rid of it. Or go Sunny Day. So, I decided to go for Sunny Day. Now, I didn't... Most of the time, I'd Terra my Growth one because that was probably, you know, easily the best sweeper on my team. But I wanted to give this one a shot, like the Sunny Day, Terra Blast, you know, Solar Beam set, right? So this is going to go for Pollen Puff again, which is fine. And, you know, that's going to do no damage at all because I resist that. So I've got the Sunny Day up here, which is going to be very, very good. So Terra Blast is going to hit really strong. So they're going to swap out the set. It's like, I wonder if that, at this stage, like, I wonder if that is choiced. Earlier on, I thought it might be a speed tie, but now I start to think that it might be choiced. So another snail is going to come here, and this is going to get hit by Terra Blast, and that didn't actually lived, which surprised me. But then I seen leftovers. I was like, all right, it's a, you know, obviously it's a very, very special defensive set, and, you know, bulky health set. So I've got another Terra Blast to go here. And I was like, I'll just go for that. There's no other reason not to keep going for Terra Blast. You know, it's super effective against the rest of the team. I know there's going to be one that has a Terra that's a counter Terra to this, I believe, but I'm not sure. Or it might be also Terra Fire too. I wasn't too sure. Like, you can, like, Terra Fire is pretty good on Wo-Chien because it gets around that 4 times weakness to bug, you know. It's quite good. So this one outspeeds me and it goes for Dark Pulse. Doesn't do a lot of damage, so it seems to be like a... you know, like a flinching set. I had one sort of similar. So this Wo-Chien only narrowly lived there as well. And I've got, well, I was like, I'll go for a Disrespect Solar Beam, you know. So another Dank Pulse there. No flinches. A little bit unlucky there. And I went for a Solar Beam. I couldn't help it, you know. Sometimes I got to troll my audience back sometimes. They troll me up. So that is the end of the Wo-Chien number 3. So there's 2 more snails. So I'm in a very comfortable position right now. I've got my shell on my back. Well, it's kind of like it's more like it's like isn't it like bamboo or something like that? Bamboo in the shape of I guess in the shape of a shell. So I was thinking, I'm like, do I keep going for Terra Blast here, or do I save this? You know, do I swap it out and save it to wait for their Terra? But I was like, no, I'll keep going for Terra Blast. You know, I've got the type advantage, I might as well. So I'm going for that Terra Blast there. Wo-Chien lives that really well. It's like, okay, it's good. Then he used Spite. I'm like, oh no. The PP's got to get smaller, and you don't want your PP to get smaller, you know. You got to make use of your PP first. If you know, you know. So they got that leftovers, and I've got 2 Terra Blasts left. I'm like, I see what their plan is. So I went for Terra Blast again. I'm like, this is going to be really close. And the second one actually takes it out. So I thought, oh, I thought I might run out of Terra Blast there. I thought that was going to be really, really close. So the last Pokemon is Wo-Chien, and there's been no Terra at all. Now, this was the Wo-Chien earlier on that I thought might be Choice Scarfed. So they're going to go for Body Slam. Like, all right, fair enough. I went for my final Terra Blast there, which was good, but I knew it wouldn't faint it. I thought it'd get pretty close, and yeah, it did. It got some pretty good damage. So I'm going to be fainting. I've got no moves. I've got Terra Blast. I never thought I'd use all my Terra Blast there, and I've got, what, Snail and... You know, I really had nothing to use here, so I just went for Snail or whatever. So, another Body Slam, and that is the end of Wo-Chien. So I've got 3 more Snails left. I don't have a Terra left anymore, but I'm not sure what it'll be. So I was like, all right, we'll go into the next Wo-Chien. Now, what set was this? I wish it's not, as you know, normally I number them. Yeah, know that. This is the dark. I was like, oh, this is perfect, right? I know what I'm going to do. I'm thinking about a nice, juicy Mud Slap KO. So now we've got a Terra, and this is Terra Bug. I'm like, oh, no. This is going to be Terra Bug Pollen Puff. I'm cooked, right? I'm done. And then he uses Body Slam, and my Bright Powder works. I'm like, I know what this is. This is a Choice Scarf. No, this is a Choice Banded set, right? So they've got Pollen Puff, but they're locked into Body Slam, and they couldn't go Pollen Puff before because of my Terra Fire Pokemon. So now they're stuck going for Body Slam. So it was a good thing that I had that Terra Fire one there for sure. And I guess, you know, since there wasn't many left there, you know, they couldn't swap out. So I decided to finish them off with a Disrespect Poison Powder. I thought that was a pretty funny way for Wo-Chien to faint. And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the Wo-Chien team. I'll probably do the same with Xianpao, Ting-Lu, and Chi-Yu and stuff like that. All right, that's it, people. Hope you enjoyed it. Drop a like if you did. Peace out.